Welcome back, guys, and thank you again for waiting with us. So we have our panel here, and I'm just going to have everyone introduce themselves. So Ray is back from, or sorry, I'm going to introduce them. Ray is back from Creative Photo Booth in Australia. We have Marco from MBP Photo Booth in San Antonio, Texas. We have Mike from The Social Vibe from California, and Situ from Chic Booth. And I'm sorry, Situ, I forgot where you're from.
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Florida. Oh, I was going to say it, but anyway. So this is our panel of experts when it comes to going with the flow during COVID. Every single one of these people has done something unique to keep their business afloat during this whole pandemic. A lot of you guys are working. Some of you guys aren't, but you're doing other stuff to build up to it. So I just really wanted to give an opportunity to everyone to hear your stories, because I know that there's just so much great information that even if someone applies just one of these things that you guys are doing, it'll be super beneficial to their company. So I'm just going to start going into questions, and then I will let you guys take it away with your expertise. So COVID has created a lot of headaches for the photo booth industry. And communicating this to our clients is obviously very, very hard, and having them understand how our high touch photo booth is going to do going forward, especially since we need events to function. So what are some steps that you've taken to communicate the various changes that you've made to your clients? And C2, I'm going to start with you because I know you've done a ton of stuff on your site.
Yes. So the most important thing we did is we realized quickly that emails, as much as they're great, they weren't enough. We sent a few emails to our clients, reminding them that we were there for them and that we have a whole bunch of new solutions, but we got close to no answer whatsoever. So what we decided to do instead is create videos. So we actually did some videos, a little bit like Raymond was mentioned he did earlier, but we did a whole bunch of videos and send them to the client explaining our processes, at least our new processes. So people can realize that we have this booth, you can still use it, you can still print the photos, you can still get your email, your text message to your phone, but you don't have to touch it. And we don't have to get any near you at all. So that worked for us the most, the videos, something visual. And we've got a lot of responses since then.
And where did you actually post these videos? So did you email them out again, or were they on your website?
We emailed them. We posted them on our social media platforms as well. But I have to admit something. I'm horrible with social media. We all are horrible with social media in the whole company. So we try hard, but we just can't get it right. So subconsciously, I think we just gave up on trying it. So while we posted them on social media and we got a lot of response from them, we emailed them as well to our clients. And some of my clients actually text with them. So I was able to say, hey, check this out. It'd be cool. So the email portion is what works best for us. So that's how we were able to distribute these videos to our clients.
Wow. So it's really funny that you say that you guys suck at social media, because I think your social media has really got tons of great content in it. You might not post a lot, but it's beneficial stuff.
It's funny because I looked at everyone in the panels, I looked at the social media and I thought to myself, geez, I need to learn something from these guys. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's colorful. I mean, I'm going to call you guys, we're going to talk. I need to learn.
I like colorful, as you can see right here. I like colorful, so I picked yellow today.
yeah, no, totally.
It's a good color for you. It's definitely a good color. Well, Marco, I know that you did a lot of work too. And one of the biggest things that you posted about was that you did this great podcast with another wedding planner where you guys actually like walked through absolutely everything that you guys have been doing and your style shoot. Like, tell me about everything, because you've been doing so much.
Yeah, of course. So I'm super active on social media. Like you mentioned right now, like he's that active. I'm on the complete opposite. I'm very, very active. So I don't necessarily, I see a lot of people posting about, what we're going through and, oh my gosh, there's no events and, just things that have nothing to do with events right now. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I think I'm just going to continue posting like if it was just any other, time of the year. So as usual, I just do my regular post and just keep going with I go through my old events and bring back photos that people probably don't even remember I had. So they reached out to me from a wedding magazine. So our local wedding magazine here in San Antonio, they started a podcast, and they also, it's like a YouTube channel. So they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, you wanna come join us? We'll do an interview." And it was just perfect timing because you guys had just launched the hands-free option. So I was like, I think this is going to be my opportunity so that I can talk about it. And they're going to be sharing obviously the podcast with everyone. I mean, they have a lot of subscribers. Of course, I mean, the magazine is the most important magazine here in San Antonio for weddings. So I was like, this is the perfect time. And yeah, I mean, I went to do the interview. I took Salsa with me, and we actually did. Like we had the host from the podcast use it. They loved it. Like it was. We talked about pricing. We talked about like the different packages that I offer with the different photo booths that I offer, and the timing also with the podcast. I ended up doing a promo video for the hands-free option. The moment that you guys announced it, I was like, I need to get on it right away. So I called my videographer, and we grabbed some friends, and we just went down to the Riverwalk and did a hands-free uh, promo video. And the day they released the podcast, it's the day that I got my final product with the promo video. So the timing was just really good because they released the podcast. It was being shared all over social media. The wedding magazine was doing it. The wedding vendors were sharing it. And then of course I was sharing it all across social media. And then right after that, I released the promo video so that people would have something to see based on what they heard on the podcast. So it was great timing for me.
Sounds like it. And what have you seen? Like, have you seen any leads come out of it? Even if it's not for this year, like, have you seen stuff for next year, or like, how's your bookings looking, I guess?
Yeah, so what I did right after I got my promo video, I emailed it to pretty much, I mean, almost every email that I have on my books. I emailed it to wedding planners, to corporate planners, to previous clients, to potential clients, to, I mean, everyone. I just did that. Again, social media, and yeah, I mean, I got several bookings right away. Clients that had already said no for whatever reason, and then they saw this option and they really liked it. So it worked for me. And then also wedding planners, they're like, this is great because a lot of the weddings are being either canceled or they're just, they're going from this big wedding to like a smaller, event. So I think that worked for them as well because they needed something smaller versus like having a backdrop, having the printouts, having all this other stuff. So yeah, I think probably like a week after the video went out, I got probably like 3 or 4 weddings from wedding planners. And then I've been getting inquiries from just people in general that see it on social media. And then I also went on all my inquiries that I had received on the Knot and Wedding Wire, that people that didn't really reply at one point. I just sent them the video. I'm like, hey, if you're still interested in a photo booth, this is another product that I'm offering right now. And I've been getting a good response from those two, from the Knot and Wedding Wire right now.
You are like the only person in the world that books off Wedding Wire.
and the thing is, like, I don't pay for it. It's the free. You know how you can get like a free account,
Wow.
with them.
Yeah.
It's the free one. You have restrictions, but I still get leads.
Wow,
Wow.
that's amazing. I don't know about you. Anyone else here actually book from Wedding Wire?
No, not at all.
Please, I don't book any.
Yeah, it's same. I get so many leads from Wedding Wire too, and it's just, and I have multiple brands in the city. I get the exact same message from the exact same person every time to all 3 brands, and I'm like, ugh, which one do I email them from? Because they're not going to book. So obviously live events look very different for each and every one of us. Some are in full blown open mode. Some of them are still shut down. there's definitely events happening, but it's obviously not in the same abundance as we saw, in 2019 or maybe earlier this year. What are some unique ways that you guys have changed with the time? And I'm just going to open this up to anyone who wants to jump in on this one. If you want to talk about something cool that you've been working on. And I know you all have been working on cool stuff, so you all should have something to say.
I guess
No
I'll
one
let
wants
somebody
to go for it. Mike, I'm calling you up.
All right. So, I mean, first and foremost, I'm sure a lot of you who have followed the podcast have heard about the contact-free photo booths. That in itself has been massive. It's been a huge hit. That one, I'll wait to when Catalina calls on me for that one. But yeah, definitely contact-free photo booths have been huge. We just all have to adjust right now. It's not the norm. The big thing with the pro subscription as well, the virtual props, those have definitely come in because nowadays people, and probably moving forward, people aren't going to want to spend on props because, I mean, we all been there. We go to, after every wedding, you have to replace a few, kids run off with them. People have too much of their favorite uncle's medicine and they definitely break your stuff. So virtual props moving forward, but yeah, Marcos.
Yeah, so I think I mean I've been working a lot on style shoots. I've been partnering up with with photographers or just wedding vendors, and we've been doing a lot of photo shoots that will serve as promo material for me right now. For example, this week I have my salsa booth at a photographer's studio. So what he's doing this week, it's for Sweet 16 and quinceañeras. So the way he's selling his service right now, it's like, hey, if you didn't have a quinceañera if it got canceled or whatever, he's selling a package where he partner up with me for the photo booth, somebody for hair and makeup, somebody that sells dresses for the quinceañeras, and somebody that did a really cool backdrop. So what he's doing, he's having these girls come to the studio and just, you have 30 minutes, we'll give you like this we'll do the hair, the makeup, the dress, everything. And you're going to get your quinceañera pictures taken, even if you didn't have one. So, they're using the photo booth and everything. So what I'm getting out of this is pretty much promo material. I don't do a lot of Sweet 16s and quinceañeras. I do more corporate and weddings, but now I'm going to have a lot of promo material for quinceañeras. So when the time comes, that they start happening again, now I'm going to have all this material that I can, send to potential clients or just start promoting it on social media that that I also do quinceañeras, because that's not a lot of the type of events that I do. But not only that, like I partner up with venues, that they're slow right now as well. And they reach out to vendors and they're like, hey, let's work on something. Let's do photo shoots, so that we can have promo material for every single vendor involved. So I think that's one of the things that I've been doing the most during this past three months or so.
Perfect. Ray, I know you had like 15 minutes to yourself, but how about you?
I think trying to just create the content for socials, because that's one of our big engagements. We get a lot of leads from Instagram particularly. So yeah, just trying to keep on top of that with all the photos we're getting. I can't remember what your question was. Sorry.
I was just saying, like, how have you guys changed? And I know you talked about, all the photo shoots and stuff that you've been doing, but just in general, like, how have your events changed going forward? Like, what are you kind of seeing if you're doing anything right now?
So we're sort of actually hitting our second, like we had our initial postponements from when all this happened, and we're coming up to those now. And a good portion of those are opting for a scaled down wedding. And with social distancing and whatnot, those booths, they're questioning. And so we have been pitching virtual booths, and they've been pretty successful, especially once they understand it. That's the big thing, like trying to get them to understand how it works, and that it's for everyone. Any phone is a photo booth. I honestly think the virtual booth is the new hashtag printer. It's a lot more accessible. we're going to be upselling printing on the spot, all that sort of stuff, to increase our price, make a little bit more money as well. So that's sort of where our focus is now.
Nice. C2, how about you?
Just like Raymond, same thing with the virtual booth. We are going really hard with it. And our goal is not just to market in Jacksonville or Dallas or Miami, but it's anywhere. This can be in France, it can be in Brazil, so we're trying to figure out how do we change our website? How do we improve our search engine optimization so that people can find us anywhere around the world? And when they come to the website, they understand that we can offer them this service, even though we're in Jacksonville or Miami and Dallas. And we're still working on the website. We're still working on the marketing plan. We're not sure how it's going to work yet, but that's one thing we're working on. The other thing we're working on, which is pretty big, but I have to put a disclaimer out there. It's not for everybody. Don't go out there and choose to do this because it might not work for you. You have to know exactly what your market is like before you do that. But we are in talks, and we have few that already signed the contract, but we will be offering our photo booth to venues and planners as a subscription. So, it's tricky because you have to be careful. You have to make sure you're not selling the photo booth at a lower price because you might lose that potential client. So you have to make sure you choose the right venue, you choose the right planner, someone maybe in a lesser price point than where you are. That way you can tap into the market as well. But the way it works is simple. We offer the planner or the venue every single thing that we have: email, a gallery, the software, the booth. We store everything. They don't have to keep anything. They can choose to buy the equipment and leave it with us, or they can lease one of our equipment. But the equipment is assigned to them, and they pay us a monthly fee, and that's literally it. They pay the attendants, even though we provide the attendants, but they'll pay the attendants. They'll find the clients, they'll book the client, and as soon as they book the client, we start talking to the clients under an email address that is not branded Chic Booth. And then we talk to that client, we create the templates, every single details, we manage it. We go to the event, we do the event, we go home, we send the gallery to the planner, and the planner sends it back to the client. It's going to, the thing is, the reason why we went that route, honestly, is an idea that we were having even before COVID hits. And I think COVID just sped the whole process. We realized that there was a group of people in Jacksonville, in Dallas, and Miami that we're never going to book. They are their weddings are too small, they don't want to spend the money. But we had relationship with some of these venues and some of these planners. So we figured, okay, listen, if we can get these clients without them knowing that it's us, we're not losing anything. We're not losing, our brand is not losing its identity because we are just offering a service to this third party. So we booked two, we have a venue and a wedding planner who already signed for it. We're working on more, but it seems that is going to work. And because of COVID, we decided to step back in our other markets, which is Dallas and Miami. So there are some booths that we have in those cities that are going to come back to Jacksonville, and then we can put these booths to work. So instead of having, this potential client, which is a planner in this case, purchase a booth for $8,000, they can just lease one of ours, which is much cheaper for them.
That is such an interesting concept. I actually love that concept.
Yeah, clever.
That's very
clever.
Cool. Yeah.
I'll see how it goes. The concept is good. We'll find out if the actual thing is good. I don't know. We'll see.
You can, I mean, the only thing you can do is try, right? I mean, that's how Uber came out, and Lyft, like all those, they saw a need, and Airbnb, like nobody owns anything that they sell anymore.
You leave everything nowadays.
I know. I don't even think I own this phone. I'm pretty sure my cell phone company does. Mike, your grad booth. I know I had you on the podcast before because it was crazy. Like it was at the height of, the shutdown. Literally no one was working. And then all of a sudden you come in and you're like, check it out, I'm working.
Yeah.
Tell us about your grad drive-through booth.
Yeah, our drive-through booth has been a hit. So many people after the podcast, thank you guys for having me on. So many people reached out. I could talk about it all day on that, definitely. And my inbox blew up, and it was my pleasure to help every one of you. If you're watching right now, if you have questions afterwards, feel free to reach out to me. The drive-by booth was, it just, you okay?
Sorry, I was just saying we have a ton of questions, let me tell you. We'll get to those after though.
All right, yeah, so what it all stemmed from how you were saying right at the beginning, at the height, basically COVID hit everyone just like an absolute, just came out of nowhere, honestly. I mean, we all know that. And it just was like, now we're sitting there with multiple booths in our warehouse. Like, what are we going to do? And then for those of you who don't know, we're a DJ company. So we're a large DJ company and who also has a photo booth wing. And so we got hit on both sides. And obviously, a lot of times our booth is paired to our, whether it be corporate events, weddings, school dances, anything we do. So now we're taking just that double massive hit. Like, what are we going to do right now? We can't get out there. We can't DJ. We thought about doing for drive-by parades. We thought about hiring, like putting DJs, like for instance, out on the front yard. And we're like, no, it's probably not going to fly. Like people aren't kind of in that mood right now. They're not trying to be dancey. So honestly, through just back and forth with Gabriel, the owner of the Social Vibe, and myself, we're like, how can we capitalize on this right now? Everybody, like, I used to be right here having Zoom meetings, like, oh my God, what are we gonna do right now? What are we gonna do right now with COVID? And then look outside and there'd be cars honking, going by. And then it just was like, hey, why don't we put a photo booth? Because Salsa, it has such a small footprint. Why don't we put a photo booth out on the sidewalk or their driveway, run an extension cable? We're a DJ company. We're gonna take a little speaker that we repurpose from our ceremonies that we do, connect to a Bluetooth right there, start playing for graduation, start playing like hip hop graduation songs, like, just going around shuffled. And so what they would do is, like normal graduation parades, they would drive by, everybody honks, everybody has their signs, they're shooting out silly string everywhere. It's all kinds of hype. Then they would come back around, and then out the window, they would go ahead and pass gifts, they would pass flowers, whatever it may be. And so we're like, hey, how about we have them exit their vehicle right there? We have an attendant that's on the sidewalk. We mark on the floor 6 feet away, a piece of tape. We're like, hey, we'll go ahead, we'll snap your photo real quick. We'll text it to you so you don't have to touch anything. You could get back in your vehicle and you can leave. And when you leave, feel free to go ahead and check out that link, and they'll feel like they're part of the entire parade. And so that just blew up. The news caught wind of it. And after that, it was crazy. They were just all kinds of people calling us just because everybody needed a reason to celebrate. And there were these kids that were getting robbed of their proms, of their graduation. So it was really big, and it's still to this day continued. We obviously marketed towards graduation parades right then. Now it's towards birthday parties. So our booth's always out. Right now, where we're at in California is like over 100 degrees. So yeah, it's thankfully for that fan inside salsa, but things have changed a little. Now we have to have a pop-up that goes with our attendant, so that way they're not baking in the heat. But it's been awesome. And just to capitalize real quick on what you were saying, I definitely think you're onto something big there, because what we do as a DJ company, we partnered with, I believe it's five or six venues here in our city, and with our DJ company. And it's obviously event venues, wedding venues, but we partnered as an all-inclusive. And so that's instant. Just for us, we get the phone call like, you've been booked for this date. And we have 7 DJs on our roster, so we're able to go ahead and accommodate the entire city. But now if you're doing, it's the same thing. So we do it, like I said, for DJing, and we use it as an add-on. I didn't even think of doing it like as just a straight photo booth. So that's genius. It's going to be big for you.
I hope so.
Love it. So shortly after I interviewed you, I actually did my own drive-through booth.
Mm-hmm.
We did it a little bit different though, because here Canada is kind of like North America, but so different, because I don't think we just have the population that America does to like do all those drive-through grads where people are like honking and that kind of stuff. So what we did, because everyone here, same thing, they don't have grad, they didn't get a chance to like dress up and take pictures, and all the moms in the mom groups. So, by the way, get in on those mom groups because they are gold.
They are. I
if
am part of one. They are. They are.
they're always looking for vendors and recommendations. They're always having parties, and oh, it's crazy. But this is how I found it. I actually found a moms group, and they made another group for the moms that had graduating kids, and from there is how we ended up doing our grad drive-through booth. And we ended up doing it for charity because we just wanted something to like give back to the community and have, you know, these kids take their pictures with their bubbles and their parents and that kind of stuff. And we did it using the hands-free. We made this elaborate backdrop, and they absolutely loved it. Like, I think we only had one spot left that was available by the end of it, and we just got such great reviews from everyone about it. So definitely highly recommend those drive-through booths. I think if we could do more of them, we definitely would over here as well.
See, I actually
awesome.
tried to advertise that. I don't think I spent a lot of time on it, but we didn't book anybody for it. It just no one was interested, or every time I talked about, people were like, "Yeah, I don't care about it." So I kind of gave up on it pretty early. Maybe I should try again, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll chat after.
It happened.
There you go.
It happened to me also. I didn't really like. I tried, I guess, also, but I guess it didn't work out in a way because I guess like it's such a movie. Like they move so fast that I guess it just didn't click, or I guess. I don't know, like it was just interesting here in San Antonio where one, it's like really, really hot, just like Mike was saying, like it's over 100 degrees. So I think people, you know, they weren't super into the whole parade stuff, but I mean, it's a genius idea. It's really cool.
Yeah, we've taken photos of like some people, you know, you get different, everyone like how with COVID and everything, like some people, they tell the for instance, before it was the graduate or the birthday, boy or girl, like you can't touch anybody, like they could come off, they could take a photo, but don't touch anyone, other people are okay. We've done only one where we actually took photos of the cars, of the vehicles. They pulled up and they would just kind of hang out the window, and I was like, that's definitely cool. I got a lot of photos. I have to post that one just to show like people that are, you know, really concerned with that they could still participate in their own vehicle with their own family.
That's interesting. Yeah. Are you guys okay with me jumping into some viewer questions? I have quite a few here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course.
Cool. All right. So, okay, first one is, I guess, for you, Mike, as well. How do you generally price your drive-by events? I think we need a better name for these two.
Yeah, 300 for 2 hours. And that includes setup and strike and labor.
And is this an add-on to your DJ service, or is that just like you can rent it out that way too?
Yeah, you could just rent it out. All our photo booths go out normally, like pre-COVID, they would go out on their own thing. The photo booth wing is labeled under the same company, but it's its own entity. Just because it has such a massive following here in our city, that it has its own teams, its own managers, and everything. But yeah, at that price point, I mean, it's basically what we do normally, so we didn't have to lower our price at all.
Got it. Perfect. And who here is doing drop-offs? Any of you guys doing drop-offs with your booths at all?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Everyone? Okay, good.
Yes.
We all are. So one of the questions, and maybe we can all go and kind of talk about what our strategy is, but someone here is asking, how do you market and sell drop-off booths? So I'm just going to, let you guys go in alphabetical order, and then I'll answer last. Everyone's doing the alphabet in their head now.
Yeah, I'm like...
Raymond, you're first. No, Marco, you're first. See, I can't even do it.
I was trying to figure it out, but yeah. So I guess just the way I did the hands-free option, I just, I sent out an email and I was like, hey, we're not doing drop-offs, so what I'm doing, it's like just kind of like a set amount. And I'm like, hey, you pay X amount and we drop it up early in the day, and then we just pick it up at the end of the wedding or event or party or whatever. So pretty much you get to use it for the entire day for whatever amount, like we're charging. And people seem to like it. Like you just tell them like, hey, you can either pay me, like whatever for 2 hours, with the photo booth attendant and all these other stuff. Or if you think that's too expensive, then, what about just a drop off? You get to use it the entire day. Sometimes, like the brides at the venue, like during the day, they're there getting ready, or, the guys are hanging out, or the family just comes to help, do the setup at the wedding. If they're doing that already, might as well start taking photos early in the day, when they're not dressed up yet. And then, as the day progresses, and you'll see the timeline as, like when they were getting ready. And then of course, when guests start arriving and throughout the night. So they pretty much get to use it all day for a set amount.
Yeah, we were doing drop-offs pre-COVID, and that's one of the reasons why we bought Salsa. It enabled us to scale without having to worry about employees. We already had a few in our books, so it would just require one to do all the drop-offs and do all the pickups. And like Marco, we're doing them as well, just pretty much full event hire, essentially, because it's so much easier to manage. We initially tried doing them on an hourly basis, but you'd essentially need a staff member for each one, so that didn't work out. So yeah, drop off, full event hire, essentially, and they love it. Digital only. And they eat it up. They love it.
Nice. So funny story. I just got a wedding wire lead.
Oh my gosh.
I think someone's punking me from the someone in the comments is like, I'm gonna go to Wedding Wire.
Yeah, you're gonna book it. You're gonna book it.
Yeah, I hope so, Catherine.
Just like Raymond, I was doing drop-offs way before COVID. It's actually I love it because the markup on it is much higher, and the amount of work is way less as well. But again, same thing, up to 24 hours. So it doesn't matter whether you need it for 2 hours or 17 hours, same price. It's very successful, and it's been going on through COVID as well. People love it. It's interesting. I just got a lead before this call from a group of nurses, and they want to rent the drop-off, and they are okay with touching the booth. And I was like, you know what, you do your thing. You're nurses, you know what you're doing. But yeah, they want to party in December, and she said, I want to book. So I'm sure, let's do it. But yeah, it was a hit before COVID. It's still a hit now. So we haven't really been pushing it because it's not new for us. And we still book it. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And Mike, you're obviously doing drop-offs.
yeah. I was actually shocked. We only do drop-offs as a company. We don't have, with Salsa, we have another type of booth that has to have an attendant because it has a printer, but we love Salsa just because of the easy use. They're all 4-hour or entire event drop-offs. So it's something that we continued with now, and the hands-free thing works great now, but we actually use it, of course, now in conjunction. We throw virtual parties, we DJ virtual parties, so we're able to network to everyone across the nation, like virtually. But if they're in our city or a reasonable distance away, we actually tack it on as an add-on that we'll drop it off at their front porch. They come out, and our tech has on gloves and everything. We have footage of what it looks like. They drop it off. We explain to them real easy how to go ahead, just turn it on, click the Salsa app. So we actually pair that with our 4-hour virtual Zoom party where people are dancing and everything. We're highlighting cameras, and then the host has the booth at their house. And in the chat, they'll go ahead and drop the link so everyone can see all the photos, even though unfortunately they're the only ones that could take the photos. But now with the virtual booth, earlier I was like, what? Yes, this is going to be great. This is definitely going to be great to check on with our virtual parties, because it's those virtual parties, they were a big hit at the beginning, then it kind of died down, but now people are, they're starting to make a rise again.
Nice. Yeah, we're the same. We've always done we've always done drop-offs, and we started doing them to kind of capture the smaller price point. So we actually price ours at $850 for 6 hours, and that includes the backdrop and obviously the photo booth with the programming. But we drop it off, we set it up, And then we lock the screen so they can't touch it. And we leave and we come back 6 hours later. So it's up to 6 hours. And we have a lot of people actually request it, and they say, I want a photo booth without a person. So last year we did quite a few of them, and this year there's not many events, but we've been doing pop-up weddings. And so we actually teamed up with one of our planners that normally does corporate events, and we planned pop-up weddings in all of these venues that aren't being used right now. So what's great is that there's 3 weddings a day, and we literally just drop off the booth on we'll drop it off on the Friday and leave it there for 2 weeks. And then people will rent, they'll book their spot, and then we just flip out the overlay for them, and that's pretty much it. But once events start to come back, we are definitely going to go back to our drop-off booths, because they really are a great one to have when you don't have to worry about hiring that many employees. Because our Christmas season, I think it was 2018, we had one day where we needed 17 staff in one day. I had to borrow staff from one of the other booth owners, Lexine, in our city here. And I was like, can I borrow 6 staff members? Because I don't have enough. So yeah, drop-off booths are really, really great. And in terms of marketing them, for us, we post on social media a lot. It's more for us is about when we get a lead in, we actually talk to the client one-on-one to find out what their needs are. And then based on that, we generally will push the drop-off booth to them if they're saying oh, it's a conference. In that case, we usually say oh, if it's a conference and the booth's on for an hour, off for an hour, on for an hour, it's probably better for the drop-off because you can use it whenever you want to. You don't have to worry about paying someone to stand there when people are in a conference. So just really understanding your client's needs and then offering them the booth that they need for that exact need is probably the best way that we market our drop-off booths.
Talking about
so thanks so much.
Talking about marketing, Catalina, there's one thing that we have done that works well too, is we don't brand it that way, but we talk about it as if it was a green photo booth. It doesn't print.
Yeah.
It's a green option. So a lot of people have been liking that. And what we do is we use HubSpot for the company. So we have the ability to track our leads and know what our leads like. So we do change our marketing based on the person that is requesting our services. So when the person happens to work for a company that is very, about energy efficiency, we will talk about that option and we'll highlight the fact that it doesn't print and it's just a cheaper option. It uses less energy whatsoever. So that's one thing we've been doing with the digital option, the drop-off option, and it's been working actually.
Yeah, I love that idea. People are definitely starting to go green. And printless is definitely a great way to go green and save on print costs as well. Anyone else have anything they want to add to the drop-off booths? Yeah, we'll go on to the next one. Oh, someone is asking, what is hands-free mode and QR code scanning? So this person doesn't own a photo booth yet. And anyone want to jump in on this one?
I'll take it. Just because of the fact that a week ago we had a planner called me, and she has a client getting married at another venue. They have another DJ, and they have another type of photo booth. I won't get into that, but they have another type of photo booth, and apparently with everything going on, they had it in their contract with that DJ, and they reached out. Well, she reached out, and then they did, just because of the contact-free option. The hands-free photo booth option for Salsa is you basically walk up, you wave your hand in front of the screen, it has a handprint right there, and then it automatically kicks everything in. So to make it to be I guess you would say streamline it, you would do, let's say, photo, and so you erase you disable the filters, you disable the virtual props as well. And so they take their photo, and then a QR code appears. The guests go ahead and they put their camera to the screen, and then it automatically sends them a link. They choose text or email, I believe. And just because of that option, we made a sale. And unfortunately, the other person, lost, I don't know, whatever deposit, whatever they have going on, but they just felt more comfortable for their guests at their wedding having a hands-free option.
Yeah. And there's another one. I know Salsa does the wave thing, but we use SnapPic. And with that one, it's not as easy, but the way it works is you print a QR code, you leave it next to the booth. When the guests come, they can scan that QR code. When they scan the QR code, He asks them to enter the phone number or the email address. When they do that, it gives them a different QR code that they scan on the iPad. And at that point, they can choose, they can control the iPad from the phone. So they can do photo, GIF, or boomerang. Again, same thing. You disable props, you disable filter, same way. But it's the same concept. And when they come back, they don't have to rescan the original QR code. They can just go back to the same web page and just trigger the photo booth from the phone again.
Yeah, I feel like any of the major companies have gone, hands-free at this point, or have it coming out sooner than later. But hands-free for us has also been very popular, and we've done a lot of marketing for it too, and again gotten leads just because of the hands-free function. Anyone else want to add to that? I think we're pretty good there.
So people, I tried doing I tried to experiment in a way. So I tried doing hands-free with my legacy, which was a little different, of course, than Salsa, because you get the picture right away. So what I did with legacy, I just created a code to my website, because I mean the software that we use with legacy, which I can't even think of the name of the software anymore. But so basically, they take the picture. We would take the picture of them, and then they would just I taped the code like right under the screen of my legacy, and then I would just tell them like, just go ahead and scan it, and the pictures will be up, in like, I don't know, like 30 minutes or so. But it would just be the link to the entire gallery, and then they would just have to find their photos. It was just like another option that I had to use for that specific event, because they didn't want to use Salsa. So I was like, we can use legacy, but like you're not gonna get the picture right away. You'll get it at least, by the time the event ends, then you'll get the photos. And it worked. I mean, I had to improvise with that one, and it worked. They liked the idea of it also.
We did hands-free, we did hands-free with the legacy as well. But the way it works for us is a little different. I don't know what software you use, but we have the attendants who obviously controls the booth, so no one touches the machine. But when they're done, the photo has, how you can share at the end of the session, you can share or reprint. There's actually a QR code option. When you hit on the QR code, it opens up the QR code, and they can scan it with the phone, but it sends them to the photo right away. It doesn't send them to the gallery.
Oh. I will talk to you about that software option.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ray, are you using hands-free at all, a QR, anything like that?
No, not at the moment. It's something that we'll do, but we've just been so flat out doing other things. So.
Yeah, we've been converting all of our booths to hands-free. Obviously, we have Salsa now. Queso came out with the hands-free too, which I personally like the motion one a little bit more than the QR ones. But for our legacy booths, we've had to figure out the QR codes too. But we'll figure that out when they start booking out. For now, I'll use all the other booths that I have. Okay, so this is going to be a question for people starting out, because we have people who haven't started their business yet, some people who are obviously deep in their business, and some people who are veterans that are tuning in. So one person is asking, what are tips that you would say on not to do when you're first starting out? And then any tips on how to start getting bookings? So is there one thing you wish you never did before?
I'll chime in. Save your money and don't throw it all into Google or Facebook advertising.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you're starting out, you don't know what you're doing with those platforms, and it will chew your money. Your best way of leads are quite literally when you're first starting out. I think make sure you have a good website. Social media is free. Jump on those wedding groups. Not so much now, but in the future, the local, like the wedding expos, and we still do those, and we do them every year, and we get so many leads and so many bookings out of those. $500, I'm not sure how much, they're various different prices, but $500 for a wedding expo will bag us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of bookings. So don't spend too much on advertising when there's lots of free avenues.
I think sorry. No.
Go ahead.
I think what I would say what not to do is don't start offering your services at a very low price, because you are probably going to get stuck within that circle of clients. Like if you're going to start, at least when I started, I actually used Catalina as an inspiration. Like I really liked her brand, and I was like, hey, that's something I want to do. So in order for me to achieve that, then I needed to create an expensive brand. So I started getting like really good clients, and I stayed within that circle. I started to get referrals from those clients, and like I didn't have to do discounts or anything like that at the beginning, because I stayed within a certain circle, and that's how I started growing my business. And then I guess a lot of networking. That's definitely something that I recommend when you're first starting out. The networking. I mean, it's free. A lot of social media, and then that's how you will get noticed as well. Like if you're very active on social media, or if you go to networking events, joining local organizations. I mean, there's the local chambers, there's wedding groups that you can join, there's ILEA, there's NACE, there's different organizations that you can join. They will cost you a yearly membership, some of those, but it is definitely worth it. And again, by being active in social media, you'll get noticed. I just like last week, I got approached by a magazine in Dallas, and they wanted to interview me as an inspiration story, I guess. So I did that interview. It's probably going to come out next week. So yeah, just be active on social media and do a lot of networking, and you will get noticed, and that's how you will start getting invited, to do interviews. Or at one point, they asked me to go do a TV show with one of my photo booths. So I ended up on TV with the photo booth. And I started getting people messaging me like, "Oh my gosh, you were on TV," and blah blah. So now I get to use the "a scene on TV." That's how I'm selling my
Oh
photo
my
booths
God.
now. So yeah, just be very social, and it will definitely work. You will start getting bookings by being social.
Yeah. Mike, yeah.
Yeah, just 100% what Marco said, like the networking. Absolutely. I'll start with that. What to do if you're barely getting started? Network. How you was saying, Nace, Elliot, any of these sort of the chamber, go and then say, hey, I'm a new member. I love to go ahead and contribute and introduce myself. Can I bring my photo booth, my salsa booth or whatever? And you put it up, people are going to notice, because the people that are there are planners, they're event venue owners, things of that nature. But definitely network. Bridal expos are probably really big at the beginning to get your names out and at least grow your email list if you're using data capture. What not to do? Yeah, don't be careful. Be careful with advertising. How Raymond said, you could lose a lot of money fast that way. I believe organic networking is a lot better than trying to pay for marketing, because we've all been there. You're going through Instagram and you're just like, it pops up and you're like, nah, just keep going. It does help. It does reach. It works when I think you're more when you have a bigger name and a bigger brand, and you can afford that. Now you'll have part of your budget will be allotted to that, because you can't ever stop. It doesn't matter how big you get, you still have to get your name out there. And yeah.
And like the other guy said, networking is the key. You have to meet people. You have to go to events. You have to. One thing that I did is go to venues and meet wedding planners one on one. Go to the networking event, meet them, but follow up. Don't stop there. You have to follow up. You have to call that person. You have to email that person. Go visit the venue. And when you go visit the venue, make sure you don't talk. I mean, make sure. No, feel free to talk about your photo booth, but you have to be interested in their business. You have to ask them about what you can do to help them. It needs to be about them. People want to feel important, right? So you have to
Yeah.
make them feel important. Yes, you want your photo booth, and it's not necessarily being, mischievous, but it's you have to be honest with it too. I need your help, but I'm also here to help you. I want to know about your your venue. I want to know about the kind of clients you attract, because the client they attract might not be your clientele, right? So it's important to also do that one on one in addition to the networking events. And yes, don't price your photo booth too low. You're going to regret it. It's easier to start high, and if you have to give discounts, but at least your price is high, and they know your price is high, and you're always going to stick to that because it's always easier to drop your prices than to increase your prices. So keep
Yeah.
that
Yes.
in
Oh
mind.
my
And,
gosh.
and
Impossible.
one more thing that I recommend you do now if you start enough is write everything down. Whether every single little thing that you do, write it down because it's going to come to a point where you forget how to do certain things, right? You have to think of your business as if it was a McDonald's or a chain, right? If you go to McDonald's in Jacksonville, the fries are going to taste the same way as if you were in Dallas, right? So you have to write the recipe for every single little thing that you do. It's a lot of work because one little thing as, for example, right? We call some a provider and we say, hey, I need some paper and ink. Can you ship me some paper and ink? It seems easy. So you do it so many times and you think it's easy. But as soon as you hire someone, when you become big enough, it's not that easy anymore because now you need to make sure that person knows the brands that you need, the size that you need. Does it need to be a metallic print? Does it need to be a glossy print? The, what's the name of the person, the company? If that person leaves that company, who is the backup person? What's the address that it needs to be shipped to? If they can ship it to, where do I need to go? Where do I go to pick that paper up? So that little call that you make every day to order paper is actually a lot of work. You might not realize it. So what you want to do is think about every single step in ordering that paper and write it down. And every single thing that you do. One thing that we did during the COVID-19 is that, right? We have something that we call the Chic Bible. Okay. And what the Chic Bible is pretty much a document. Well, it's an online document, right? But if anything were to happen to me or anybody in the company, anybody could come in, spend 2 weeks on this document, and will be able to run the business just as if I wasn't there. And that is from how to set up a booth, right? How to change the paper in the ink, how to answer the call. What do you say when you pick the phone up? What do you email? How do you email a bride? How do you email a corporate client? How do you email someone who's asking you for a birthday party? If it's a 50th birthday party, 16th birthday party, literally every single thing that we had to do once, we wrote it down somewhere. That way we can always go back to it when we need it, because sometimes you just do things and you forget about it. So that's my advice. Do it early, do it now, because when your company grows, and I'm sure it will, you find yourself trying to figure out things, and that will slow you down. So it's easier to start now. So write everything down. It will save you time. It will save your sanity as well.
And
Yes, from someone
what
who
what
just did all of those manuals, I couldn't agree more.
yeah. And one last thing, just to chime in, I know I mentioned it on our podcast together, but don't give up. If you're barely starting out, you just need one break. Truly do. You need that one planner to all of a sudden book you for that super elite dinner or something in a skyscraper in the penthouse, and you now show up, you rock it, you crush it with your overlay, with your design, with your customer service, and now you have a bunch of folks with money that are contacting you because with Salsa, you have find us on Instagram, whatever. They have you in their phone now when they're throwing their their fancy dinners and everything. So you just need just one break. That's all it takes. Just one, and then you're good. You're golden.
Yeah.
So we have about 7 minutes left, and I have a really interesting question here that I want to get to before we're done. How are you guys planning ahead for next year? Because this person's saying we have triple the amount of events we usually would have in a calendar year, and it's looking a little intimidating.
So
You want to go first?
think about your staffing now, because it's going to take time and effort and investment to get them up to scratch so they're ready when you need them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Raymond. That's the same thing we're doing here. We actually, as soon as COVID hit, we started hiring, which is crazy, but we needed that. And the good thing is we have the time. You have the time for training right now. I have some people that I say, oh, here's the booth, take it home with you and play with it. And I'll train you virtually. But I do need those people to be ready when it gets crazy, just like Raymond said. You have to focus on staffing.
Yeah, right now it's the perfect time. Actually, last night I had a meeting with my staff, kind of to retrain some of them, because it's been a while. Some of them haven't been working, some of the events lately. So what we did last night, we did a little bit of training, and then we actually did a photo shoot last night. We did a really cool photo shoot just for promo material, just to introduce or reintroduce the staff to, social media or on the website. But we use that as a retraining session. And I have hired people that, that will eventually start, but I already have some lined up, because once this is over, hopefully soon, those events are going to, everybody's eager right now to have events. So those events are going to be there waiting for us, and we need to have the staff and the equipment, and everybody needs to be trained. So yeah, I've been working on that.
Awesome. I would say streamline everything right now while you can, when you're not doing as many events and you see it on your calendar that you have a lot coming. I believe you said 3 times the amount. Streamline everything. Say on Monday evening, for instance, I am finalizing all my overlays for all my events that I have. Tuesday, you know what you have to do. Wednesday, and then that way you're ready to rock. You're not kind of freaking out. You're not, everyone, you may have families, 9 to 5, something like that. Maybe you had to stay over late for work. You don't have to freak out just because you already have a plan in place. Like every Monday, I know for a fact, finishing out all the overlays, etc.
Yeah, and I think this is also a really great opportunity for some of the new booth owners, just because the amount of weddings that are going to happen. We all saw that chart in the last presentation about how many weddings were supposed to happen in October 2020. And I know, like, we only had one cancellation, and it was literally a person who was like, the booth was going out that Saturday, then they postponed, and then it just couldn't happen. It kept getting pushed back. So everything we had on the books for 2020 is now moved to 2021, and we're still getting inquiries for 2021.
Yeah.
I have a lot of booths, but it's very possible that like we might be double booked for that specific booth somewhere. So for any new booth owners, make sure that if you are a PBSCO owner, that people know in the group where you are, so that if there is an opportunity to white label, because I know I'm all about white labeling rather than having to buy another booth unless I see the repetition happening over and over again. Usually it takes about 3 events for me to have white labeled before I buy another photo booth. But this is a great opportunity for people who are just starting out to get that residual, those residual bookings, and just the volume that's going to be available out there. Like, just start networking now so that you can pick up all of those extra events that, some of the photo booth companies are already at max. Like, I know a few of them that have days that are already completely booked out. So the jobs are there. Anything else you guys want to add to that one?
Stay organized, get yourself a CRM.
Yeah.
Booth book, giving away 3 months possibly for free to one lucky winner. So that's definitely one to check out. Perfect. All right. Well, guys, I'm actually going to stop us here because we do need to go to our commercial break. And then when we come back, I'm going to be wrapping it up and giving away a couple of prizes to some of the people here. Now, before we go, I want to give you guys an opportunity to maybe just give a piece of information to somebody who's starting out. And I like to phrase it this way: if you could go back to the day you started your photo booth business, what is the one thing you would tell yourself? Marco, I'll start with you.
Oh my gosh. Be more patient, I guess. I mean, some of the owners that know me, that we've met throughout the years at at the summits or just conferences. So sometimes I just reach out to them and I'm just like going crazy with certain things, either the design portion of the overlays or the technical part of a certain software, things like that. I mean, it's gonna take a lot to learn what you're working with. Right now, for example, like Salsa, it's a super easy app. But let's say you start using other softwares, you have to make sure that you learn everything, and then also, it's gonna get confusing. So just it's gonna get good, it's gonna get better. I was super impatient at the beginning, and I'm still impatient. So I think if I would go back there, I'd be just like, take a moment, just breathe, and don't freak out. Some of the people out there, like I'm just like messaging like crazy. I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Which Catalina has been one of them at one point, I'm sure.
I love your messages though.
Like yeah, like I message Catalina, I message I don't know, Trish also in Canada, or Jan, or Tree, or just people all over the US, and people that I have a connection with already, and they know how frustrated I get sometimes. But yeah, just be patient. That's what I would tell myself.
Nice. C2, how about you?
Know your stuff. Know your stuff. Sleep with that booth next to you in the bed. Break it, put it back together. Break it again, put it back together. No, find a way to jam the paper, unjam the printer. Find a way to jam the printer, sorry, and unjam it. You have to know your photo booth in and out, because unfortunately it will break. And when it breaks at an event, you need to be able to fix it. And if you can't fix it, you're going to panic. And if you panic, it's just going to keep getting worse. So you have to know your software. Play with every single little feature of that software, even if you don't have any client asking you about that feature. I'm a tech guy. Maybe that's why it was easier for me, but that's how I think, right? I'm a tech guy and I want to know how things work. But I realized that by doing that, it gave me some kind of expertise, some kind of calm throughout this whole thing. When I was talking about the booth, I felt in control because I knew what I was talking about. So that's one thing that I would say do. Also, and if I'm allowed, Catalina, really quickly, I'll go back to the very first question you asked me, right? And it's about emotional intelligence. You have to know how other people feel to make your business successful. One of the questions you asked me earlier was, how did you guys deal with this whole situation? That same question we ask ourselves when we started the business. How do we make it? When COVID-19 started, the question we asked ourselves is, how do we survive this thing? And that is the wrong question to ask, actually. You have to ask yourself, how can I help my client? What can I do to make people feel better about themselves? That's the question you have to ask yourself if you're starting this business. That's the question you have to ask yourself during this COVID pandemic. Because when you ask yourself that question, it opens up the door. You talk to other people. You ask them, what is it that you need? Your wedding is canceled. You're crying about that. I can't be worried about my photo booth and not booking an event. I need to worry about you, the bride, who spent your whole life planning this thing. So you have to be emotionally intelligent in any business, and in this one as well. So don't always think, what can I do to be successful? Think, what can I do to make that event perfect? What can I do to make my client happy? And if you can ask yourself that question, I think you'll be successful, because you will seek the answer, and the answer will be the key to your success.
I wish I had a heart emoji I could just stick on the screen right now.
Right? I'll be like,
yeah. There you go. Yeah, do a little heart. That was amazing. Mike, Ray, do you guys have anything you want to add there?
Probably just add, keep it simple. It's easy to overcapitalize when you start. You want to buy 10 backdrops, you want to buy 1,000 props. And one thing we've learnt, a quick story, when we did our very first wedding expo, we literally took everything we owned. We took every sequin backdrop, we took all our props. We're like, we're going to upsell everything. And then at the end of it, we were so disappointed because we didn't get even one booking like on the spot. We were expecting bookings on the spot, didn't happen. But people just like simplicity. So, one or two backdrops. When props come back, they're not asking what props do you have. They just want a fun experience. So if you can keep it simple and sell the experience, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, 100%. And
Mike?
just I'll keep it real simple because everyone's had great points. Y'all are crushing it right here. Like Raymond said, at the end of the day, it is a business, and you're getting in this obviously to increase capital to help your family, your life. But at the end of the day, it's a photo booth business, so it's fun. Have fun. How many people get paid to go and head to weddings, to events, birthday, corporate, whatever. Every single person, you will never see anybody take a photo in your photo booth after when you go through the gallery, like, you know, I'm having a horrible time here. No, it's fun. Have fun with it. Like C2 was saying, stuff happens, printers break, software malfunctions, things are gonna happen. Breathe, take a breather, and know that yes, right now in that moment, you know, it's not the greatest, but there's support and there's your friends in the groups that you could contact, post real quick, reach out to somebody. But at the end of the day, just yes, have fun with it. And I wish you all the best of luck. Definitely, if it's an exciting time, have fun. It's great to start something new, start a new business, and you're gonna love it. Trust me, you're not making a bad decision at all.
I'm going to put my last piece of information, which is test your booth the night before or 2 nights before. Literally, there is no such thing as enough testing, especially when you're first starting out. Test, in case you didn't get it, test.
Yeah. And don't update. Don't update before an event.
Oh my gosh,
no.
Do not.
Yeah.
Do not.
Oh, damn Windows. Thank you so much, guys. This was so great. You guys had so much knowledge. I wish we could do this for hours and hours. I feel like we could just keep talking, and I know the comments are coming through. Everyone's loving this. So thank you again so much for taking the time to sit and talk with everyone about all of these questions. And I know, Ray, it's super early for you up in Australia, so appreciate it. We're going to go to commercial breaks now, and when we come back, we're going to be giving away some prizes and talking about Virtual Booth Summit Day 2. And so I hope you guys will stick around to see who's going to win some prizes. Thanks again, guys. See you later.
thank you.